The Landmine is one of the cheapest and most versatile things that you can add to your home gym, especially if you have the right attachments. Today I'm going to show you all of my favorites, as well as one to completely avoid. Let's go. What's up guys, Kyle with HypertroFit.com, the best place to design your home gym and develop your training program. Like I said, today I'm going to walk you through my favorite attachment pieces for the Landmine so that you can make the most out of this incredibly versatile piece of equipment. The first on my list is the Force 6 Fitness T-Bar Row attachment, which I've already done a full review on how I set up my chest supported row here in my home gym using the Rogue Pritchett pad, the Force 6 handle, the Exponent Edge Landmine Jack, which we're also going to talk a little bit about, and all on just your regular barbell in the Landmine, and it's an incredible experience for a chest supported row. I would rival it up against any other standalone piece because mainly of these handles. So this Force 6 unit is awesome because it works as both a landmine attachment and a cable attachment, so you can get both benefits in either respect. The articulating handles, being able to fully spin, being able to adjust the width of them at any point for either of those pulling variants is amazing. It makes a huge difference on both of these exercises, and you can also do it in just a standing T-bar row fashion as well, so a lot of flexibility with this one. And like I mentioned, the Exponent Edge Landmine Jack works great in that chest supported row setup, but also just about any other landmine work that you're going to do where you're constantly loading, unloading plates. Being able to have that elevated off the ground with that little landmine jack is a game changer and certainly makes it a much nicer experience compared to trying to load plates on and off of the floor. The next thing we're going to discuss is the Titan Fitness Viking Press Handle. And this is something that I picked up early on in my home gym career and didn't really think too much about it. And I find myself using this incredibly regularly. Now, you don't want the skinny handle, it would be okay, but I think the regular fatter handle feels much nicer for overhead presses or Viking presses with this. And I pair this up with the Titan Fitness Landmine Stand. They have two variants of this. One is just the standalone stand, which is what I have, and then they also have one that can double as a weight tree. I think that that takes a little bit of the utility out of it because it just makes it harder to move unless you really just had one place that you wanted to stand this thing up and use it. But I love both of these because the Landmine Stand, a little bit different than the Exponent Edge Jack, actually allows you to lift the barbell significantly off the ground. So when getting into different either pressing positions like with the Viking press or various squat movements, having that higher starting point makes this a lot closer to what you would experience out of an actual machine, so that you're not having to clean it off the floor and get it into position every single time. You can just get under the load right from the start and be ready to train. The Viking press handle is amazing, especially if you're somebody that has shoulder issues with overhead pressing. Because you're doing this with the landmine and you're naturally on that arcing motion with the barbell affixed to the floor, you're gonna have a lot less pressure in the joint and really be able to start to overload your delts directly. This is something that you can actually go really heavy with too and start to build up your strength over time. You can program this just like you would with, say, a barbell military press, just without any of that additional shoulder stress if that's something that you have issues with. I love pairing this up with that exercise. So on a lot of my shoulder days, I'll do my heavy barbell pressing work, and then I'll throw a lot of volume in with the Viking press after it because it's just direct, awesome delt work without, again, that added stress in the joint. So definitely look into these. And then obviously the Titan Landmine Stand is going to be useful for just about anything that the Exponent Edge is too short for. Now, an honorable mention would be the Prime Fitness Rotate Landmine attachment. And this I've had for years. I pair this with the Rotate handles and it works incredibly well, especially if you're doing T-bar rows with this. It's just like the 4-6 handle. You get the nice articulating motion. You have the more mag grip style grips as well, which is really nice. The reason why these aren't top of my list and the 4-6 are is because of the way that the 4-6 handles sit up, which allows you to grab them much more easily. The problem with the prime handles is that because they're just attached via a chain or a carabiner link, you don't have any way to prop them up. So you're either picking them up off of the floor, or if you're trying to set up the chest supported row variant, they're hanging down, so you've got to grab them before you get into position. Whereas with the 4-6, because the handles sit on top of the metal frame, you can actually just grab them and go. And that alone made me want to pick up the 4-6 handle, and is why that remains at the top of my list when I'm looking for what landmine attachment I'm gonna grab. Now, I still find myself using the prime rotate handles a lot on, say, lat pull downs and low cable rows, because the handles are hanging down towards you, which is great. But in any case where you actually have the handles below you, you're at a disadvantage because they are hanging down. Now, the landmine attachment that I think everybody should skip is the Titan Fitness Linebacker Squat. This is an unfortunate one because on paper it's super versatile, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do with it, but it's severely limited by its inability to be loaded well. And what I mean by that is you see these two weight horns on the side of the linebacker pad. There's no way to keep this locked in stable. And by that I mean, if you put any weight on one side, it's just gonna flip. So you have to either hold it up, you have to have two people putting the weight on at the exact same time, or you have to have incredible clips so that you can put one weight plate on, clip it on, let it flip down, and then put the other weight plate on. This is even more problematic if you want to add any more than a single plate to each side. So yeah, if you are only working up to a plate on each side, I can make a point that this could still work well. But if you want to load this any heavier, which anybody that has a reasonable squat would need to, you're not going to be able to, at least not in a safe manner, or you're gonna have to load it up on the floor, clean it up to the top of the movement or up to the landmine stand, and then start your movement, instead of just being able to have this racked, load plates like you would on a machine or on a barbell and go. And that's the biggest reason why I can't recommend this piece, is because it's just unwieldy and kind of dangerous when you're loading it this way, which is really unfortunate, because when you do have it loaded properly, it does its job really well. It works as a great leverage squat, hack squat kind of hybrid pad. And if you pair it up with, like I have the prime squat wedge, you can get a really good angle, and the exercise itself feels awesome, but the setup is all wrong and there's just no way to do it well. So this is one of those pieces that I've now had for years, and it's just collected dust because there's been no good way for me to build on this. It does also have the rotating handles on the sides, so you can use this again for presses, clean and presses, or various other movements, various rows. And if you're a little bit maybe skinnier, leaner, you can probably fit within the handles a little bit better to do some of those movements. For me, the presses work fine, but this is an overall big piece of equipment, and the dedicated Viking Press handles that I already talked about honestly serve and fit that purpose much better. I don't ever use this as like a clean and press, although it would do pretty well in that respect if that is the type of movement that you're looking for. So if you're interested in that, or if you're just not using a ton of weight with this exercise or these movements, then this could still work for you, but again, it's just not for me. And one thing you might look at is, well, what if you just loaded the plates up on the actual barbell sleeve instead of on the weight horns on the linebacker pad? The problem with that is that you still are very limited in the amount of plates that you would be able to fit in that gap. And then on top of that, it's just super unwieldy to get this thing on and off. And if you're constantly building up in plates, it's just gonna be really annoying to use. And you're probably still gonna be limited in the amount of weight that you can truly load on that. Not to mention that as you start to load this thing up, the further that weight is away from the midpoint of the bar, that bar starts to take a lot of pressure and load and bending, even on that higher landmine jack that I'm using here from Titan Fitness. So overall, this is definitely one to skip for me. So I'd love to know what you guys think. These are some of my favorites. I use these regularly in my training, and if nothing else, the utility of having various landmine jacks or stands really opens up the ability to use this in more exercises. The handles and attachments on top of that are great, but if you can't get into the movement initially, then those are all kind of for naught. So I would look at actually getting those first, and then what attachments make the most sense for you from there. So I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if I'm right or wrong on any of these, and if there's any other pieces that you'd like to discuss, do it down below. If you want help designing your home gym or developing your training program, get in contact with me at the links in the description, and I will catch you guys again in the next video.